I've been involved in the festival. I showed up for the very first one. I just showed up as an audience member. I loved it. I was fortunate that I got to meet Howard a few times in life while he was still living. And, I first found him when he was touring around with the Louie, Bluie documentary, and he played at UT where I was attending at the time, and I got to see him perform there. And then I started tracking him down, and I got to see him play in Kentucky when he won a Heritage Award there. I got to see him play at over at Merle Fest. He was at Merle Fest one year, which was wonderful. I got to see him play when he returned here for a very triumphant return to La Follette, when he was traveling around with Leah Mahan recording Sweet Old Song. And then I was at the concert that they held down at the Laurel Theater in Knoxville, which was a wonderful thing that's included in Sweet Old Song. Like I said, I attended the first festival, and then I started volunteering after that. So they put me in the hospitality tent the second year, which I got to just sit around and talk to musicians, which I loved. The third year I did the same. The fourth year they included me on the program committee, and I've been on the program committee ever since. The program committee picks out which bands to invite and then books those bands. We try very much to keep Howard in the festival. That's kind of what we do. It's real easy to think that the story of music in East Tennessee is a white story, and it is not. It has always been a multiracial story, and Howard just so beautifully exemplified that. He was obviously multi-talented, a fabulous artist, could play all those instruments, was just one of the funniest people you'd ever listen to talk, too. He was just very gifted, always kept La Follette in his heart and his mind, I think. He mentions it about everything you ever see Howard talking about or read of Howard being interviewed. It was a marvel to me that this La Follette and this county was more racially diverse when Howard was a young man in the 19-teens than it is now. So I found it a miraculous thing when this county came together to embrace Howard and make a festival in his name. This is the biggest festival, biggest social gathering, community-supported event of the whole year here in Campbell County. And it's in honor of a black musician. One of my favorite stories ever is going up with Dom Flemons and, I can't come up with Brian's last name right now, but Dom Flemons and the person that was playing with him at the time, to Jellicoe, to an elementary school there. And I was looking around beforehand, and there was maybe 2 kids of color in the whole school. Of course, Dom and Brian were black men, and Dom plays the bones, which is a percussion instrument and harmonica at the same time, and Brian was playing fiddle. They started up their first song that they did with the bones and the fiddle, and it was like seeing, I don't know if you've ever seen a hornet's nest be whacked, but it was like seeing a hornet's nest be whacked. All the kids started whacking their feet on the old wooden bleachers. The whole place just erupted in a joyous racket that was much like a hornet's nest being hit. It was one of the most powerful musical experiences I ever saw in my entire life, because they just got it. Music reaches across many boundaries, and I think that's one of the things that we try to do with this festival. Is we try to make it a very diverse festival for this area, and we try to honor Howard's legacy by playing to the audience in front of. He used to play to the audience in front of him, which meant that he was able to play Italian songs, German drinking songs, he could play hoedowns, he could play blues, he could play old Tin Pan Alley standards. He could do it all, and he was a practical musician like musicians have been forever.